friends, how's it going? I am the Average Guy 1983. Thank you so much for joining me on this video today. In today's video, like you guys probably already seen in the thumbnail, I'm going to be going over some of my gear that I'm going to be using on the channel, and there's some things that are off camera on that image that I'm going to show you guys in the video. And I like to first apologize for the fan noise that you're hearing. It's really hot here in LA, so I have a fan on at the lowest setting here inside of the basement. The basement does not have air conditioning because it's not treated for weather. So in other words, whatever I have here right now, I just have some plastic things covering the vents at the top to try to prevent heat from getting in here and rain, so that I won't get rust on my stuff or any dust from the gardeners when they come every other week and do gardening work. The rest of the house on this side has a bunch of vents in the front of the house, and it's completely opened and exposed with just screen meshes, so any air that comes in that's hot comes in here and it comes directly here to this part of the basement. So it kind of sucks, and it doesn't help that I have a water heater as well right next to me on this side of the arm here that also happens to cause me some problems here with heating in the room. So I'm gonna try to talk as loud as I can to mute out that fan noise, but also play some background music for you guys from my beats that I create for the channel off camera, and hopefully the video sounds good. So if it doesn't, I apologize. We'll try to see what I can work out if it does disturb some of you guys, and we'll go from there. Because again, I'm grateful to a lot of you guys who have been subscribing to the channel regardless to me not bringing out any new content. So thank you to all of you guys who have been subscribing, and those of you who have been sticking around. Your subscription and your thumbs up is what gives me the courage to continue to making content and going crazy and buying expensive camera gear, which let's go ahead and talk about that now. So remember how I told you guys on a previous video that I was taking some online courses for cinematography? Some of you guys who have been subscribed to me and have been following me around and watched that video, you guys probably already know. Well, those videos were very helpful, though kind of expensive to actually take for online courses where you're basically self-teaching yourself. You're watching their videos, they're showing you what you have to do, and you just write notes for yourself and take that with a grain of salt, because there are a lot of content creators that are very famous and have a lot of subscriber count and are very well known, like that Peter McKinnon guy and Gerald Undone, which I'm sporting one of his official HDMI cables from Condor Blue to show him support. And they bring out really good content, but they don't all reveal their secrets to you on how they do their recordings and filming. For that, you have to subscribe to their monthly crap, similar to Patreon, but directly on their websites. And I did that for a couple of people because I wanted to get different opinions from different content creators on how they shoot video. And my camera is not 100% the best choice for them. Most of them prefer something like the Alpha 7S III, and they prefer something like the Sony A1, or even the FX3, FX6, or FX9. That's out of my pocket range. So I have this Alpha 7 Mark IV here to show you guys, and this here is my official camera rig, or for cinema or videography, that I'm going to be using here on this channel for future content. I did this because I want to be able to provide you guys with the best crystal quality video possible in 4K. I like to record in 4K 60 at 200 megabits per second on the bit rate, and with this camera I record under hybrid log gamma BT2020 with a 10-bit 422, and the picture profile is PP11, which is S-Cinetone for that nice buttery smooth look. So this camera is gonna look kick-ass. Matter of fact, you guys already got a taste of what this camera can do. The video that I have on my channel on unboxing the JL Audio C7 replacement speaker for the door, that video right there was all this camera and this lens alone. None of the rest of the stuff that's on it, just the camera and the lens, no filter. And it looked amazing. However, I upped up my game, and here's what I have. So let me introduce you to this camera. This Alpha 7 Mark IV by Sony is named Vision. I named the Vision because he has, you know, literally looks badass. A little overkill for car audio versus the competition, but I don't mind that. I have a Rode Wireless Go 2 to control the audio. The input on the mic has been set for this, so I don't want to take this off because this is officially set for that, to use it with a microphone like this without getting any distortion coming out of the camera. On the back, I have a battery that gives you information there. You can kind of see it a little bit. And this battery, the display only stays on for a brief moment. The battery automatically powers your devices. Right now it's at 75%. You can see 3 dots out of 4. But this is the FX9 Nano 3. It's the biggest battery I can afford at about $400 for the battery. And this battery gives me about 8 to 10 hours with this camera on. And if I really wanted to, I can connect this monitor, even though I have an external battery. I can connect this Nanlite device here, which is a Nanlite Lilolite 5, to give me some kind of lighting to avoid any dark shadow stuff that kind of looks weird. And obviously I have a matte box, which can use an ND filter in a box form or even in a lens where it screws on. So that's really freaking cool. That's what I have for you guys for this channel. And I can use this with this monitor, which is an Atomos Shinobi, for outdoor use. Indoors, I actually have a larger TV that I decided to use as a monitor, but this is what I'm going to be using for that. Again, with this one, I record under XAVCS 4K at 4K 60, 200 megabits per second. My computer, to be fair, it can't handle 200 megabits per second on the bit rate. It's too much and my computer chokes. It can handle 150, but it can't do 200. Every time I record a video, what you guys see is nothing compared to what this camera can actually record. And it's kind of unfortunate, but I'm okay with it. I just wanted to show you guys this because this thing is what's going to be making those nicer looking videos. I know there are other channels out there that have really good content and they record in 1080p. If that's what they want to do, because that's what works for them, that's cool. But I feel like if you're sponsored by somebody and you get a lot of like thousands of dollars in gear and you have that extra free cash that you don't have to spend on making content to put content on your channel, then you should probably up your game a little bit and get something a lot cooler. But for me, this is fine. I've already had a couple of YouTube content creators telling me for me to do me whenever I mention that I don't want to do any kind of Patreon. They seem to be a little bit bothered by it. So it is what it is. I don't fit in with every content creator. I tried mingling with a few. I'm not going to mention their names, but most of the time it's been very quiet. And when I do try to chime in, I pretty much get this treatment from them and also from their loyal subscribers. Pretty much like this.
You'll never be in Santa's gang. Never be in Santa's gang. Hey, what's that? Look here.
Get him! Get him!
So I figured if I'm gonna get that kind of treatment, I might as well just stay quiet. I don't discriminate against any car audio brand. I love Kicker, I love JL, I love Rockford Fosgate. I used to have Rockford Fosgate amps in the past. Alpine, Clarion, which I love freaking Clarion. Their radios are badass. And matter of fact, I have an NX702 that I've had in my Park Avenue since like 2011. And I'm going to be reusing that radio in the Park Avenue build. So I'm happy about that it still works. I just tested it the other day. But yeah, that's kind of treatment I get from a lot of YouTube content creators and their subscribers. So I try to stay out and I just stay quiet. I respect them though, regardless to that treatment. And I hit the thumbs up button on their content. I never hit a thumbs down because I appreciate all car audio as a DIYer. I'm not just stuck with one brand. I know that I talk about JL a lot and I use JL audio a lot, but that's because I grew up around them since the late 90s. And I grew up around a lot of boomers and Gen X people that were using their gear. And I just grew up around that. So every time I see it, it just gives me memories of what I used to hear and see, which was really cool. And you used to see amazing installations in the trunk. Sometimes you would even see these 8-inch old JL subwoofers that only did like 50 watts RMS and they sounded amazing inside of a hatchback. And that was really cool. That was content back then. and gear that was awesome back in its days, and the creativity with fiberglass and stuff was amazing as well. But getting back to this other stuff, allow me to introduce you guys to the second camera in the squad. This one here is the ZV-E10, and this ZV-E10 actually does a pretty good job. It's not as good as the Alpha 7 Mark IV, because this one only records at up to 4K 30, but with a 1.5 crop, just like that one. So all you have to do is just kind of move the camera a little bit back, a few feet back, and you'll have that nice full frame look. Some people are not going to like it to do this in a professional way, so they might want to look for something else that's more full frame, but prepare yourself to pay a lot more than what this would cost. This thing was under $1,000. I'm going to say $1,000 with the camera cage, the SD card that I have in here, and also the handle to help me move things around. The handle isn't 100% needed, but the fact that I'm able to hold it like this so it won't slip and break is good. I do have a warranty on this camera as well as on this one, including the lens directly from Sony. So in case I drop it, which that's not my intent, I want this camera cage from SmallRig to take the hit and not the camera. So either way, this thing can do 4K 30 with the 1.5 crop at 100 megabits per second. Unlike the Alpha 7 Mark IV, this only has 8-bit, so it's 420, not 422, and it doesn't have S-Cinetone. The highest picture profile does is PP10, but I've been using PP1 with this one, which is kind of like a natural look, similar to what you're looking at right now with the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 and the front-facing camera. But this is really cool. This will be great for things like B-roll, things where you want to take video images of something going across like this in a really smooth motion. You can use a gimbal, or you can just stabilize yourself, don't drink coffee and be all shaky, and just try to like carefully take a look and just make your camera move to the side really smooth. That's why this handle is here, to try to give you a good grip so you can take your side view angle instead of investing on those wheels that you attach to the camera and just let it roll. So this is good for B-roll stuff, or to have the camera at an angle like this from a distance while you're doing a live stream, so you have two different camera angles to switch to, which I'm going to get into that right now. And this is great for that. Or you can use it on something like this Glide Gear OH100 that I have here. Excuse the fan, let me turn it off real quick. You can use this Glide Gear, just remove this camera from this whole body cage so that it won't be too heavy. And right now I have this GoPro thing here, but I can remove the mount, and I can just go ahead and put this camera right here, look, just like this. Bam. And I can have it facing down like this, adjust the exposure value, the shutter speed and everything to make it look good. And then that can be facing the router table or another table where I'm doing an amp rack install, and I can have that for you guys in a much better quality video. So I think it's really cool to have something like the ZV-E10. So don't get me wrong, the GoPro Hero is not out of the mix. The GoPro Hero is still a fairly decent device. Look, man, it's not the best. It has its problems. I'm not sure about you guys, if any of you guys have this Hero 10, but this Hero 10 has overheating problems. It's overheated on me multiple times on 4K 30, 4K 60, 5.3K 30, 5.3K 60. I haven't tried 2.7K because 2.7K or 1440p is not an ideal resolution that people use. Usually the majority of the time you see people using either 1080p or you see them using 4K. Those are the main resolutions that usually get used. On a smartphone, you might see 1440p, but if you're watching from a TV using a Roku or an Apple device, you know, 1080p or 4K. In 1080p at 60 frames or 30 frames per second, it gets hot, but it doesn't shut down, meaning it doesn't overheat and shuts down like it does with 4K or 5.3K. So if you want to use this in 4K 60 or 1080p 60 or in 30 frames, if that's what you prefer, you can use something like this Rode VideoMic Pro that I have. I've had this for many years and I've used it for a lot of my videos to demonstrate how the audio sounds. And this has picked up the best possible sound quality coming out of this microphone. So I would recommend a mic like this, even though this costs about the same price as a camera now, because when I bought this thing was $500 plus tax. This was $300. So now the price has been lowered because a lot of people have it now, and a lot of people have been having issues with the camera. So GoPro, even though they know about the negative feedback regarding the overheating problem, they still want to sell a product, so they're obviously lowering the price to convince people to buy the 10. So if you want to use this for like bass videos, to like record stuff from Slamology, people's bass systems with something like this, something like the Rode VideoMic Pro and this GoPro Hero 10 connected to the input in the back with the media mod on, by the way, would be an ideal thing to have. But just remember that it does get hot. The media mod is required to use the microphone, so just know that the media mod is kind of like a jacket, so when it's applied to the GoPro Hero 10, it gets hotter. So if you record in 1080p at 60 frames, it's still going to get hot, but it's not going to shut down. If you record at 4K, whether it's 24, 30, 60 frames, or even 5.3K in that same frame rate, it's going to shut down on you after it overheats within 10 to 20 minutes. So keep that in mind if you want to use this. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this YOLOBox Pro. This YOLOBox Pro is amazing, and the reason why I decided to get closer to the screen is because I want you guys to take a really good look at this device. This device is basically like a computer for streaming, okay? You could also record into this thing under something called monitor mode. And like you guys can see back here, hopefully you guys can see this, there are 3 HDMI inputs. If you use one HDMI input with one camera, you can max out the resolution at 1080p at 60 frames per second at 8 megabits per second on the bitrate for live streaming. On the side of being able to have things like pictures, music in the background, you can put PDF files to do like PowerPoint type presentations. You can have green screen, so if you have images of banners and stuff and you want to use a green screen in the background, or even a video that repeats like a GIF, you can actually have that with the green screen in the background to make it look like you're somewhere else. And that is really freaking cool. You can also invite guests, up to 5 people in a Zoom type guest environment is how you can do it. So I don't know if anybody was to be invited under this device with me to like stream on the channel, if they would be able to stream on their channel using the same type of data. Maybe they can because they're using a computer, but if you're not, you can use it from a smartphone, a computer, or a laptop, or even a tablet like an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy Tab, which is cool. As long as you answer that email link that I send you as an invitation to become a guest on the show, you will pop up here and I can put your name on there and what it is that you do, or your channel name, and it'll pop up when we do it, and we can do split screen between me and you as the invited guest. This shit is badass, but it does have its flaws. The mechanisms doesn't work as well. It occasionally glitches out and it restarts. It sometimes has distortion on the audio, and sometimes the HDMI inputs don't want to shake hands with the other cameras you have. You have to remember that you cannot put a 4K input on any of these HDMI inputs. It won't accept it. It won't work. You have to either use 1080p at 60 frames, 1080p at 30 frames, 720p at 60 or 30 frames, and that's about it. So you won't have any issues. When you have more than one HDMI camera connected, so let's say you have 2 cameras like the Alpha 7 Mark IV and this ZVE10. Let's say I connected to this. I am now limited to 1080p at 30 frames per second. So I cannot use more than 1080p 30. So let's say I want to do a live stream with you guys, and I want to have the Alpha 7 Mark IV facing me from here this way. And on this side over here, on my side, I want to have a side view with the Sony ZVE10. I can do that with this and simultaneously change manually myself by touching each camera, or 2, simultaneously change every few seconds of my choice. I can have HDMI 1 set to 20 seconds, HDMI 2 set to 5 seconds, and it'll switch right back, and it'll continue doing that as a loop until the stream is over, or until I decided to disable that feature, which is really badass with this thing. You can do overlays, meaning you can add your channel logo or picture and your name on here. You can read YouTube comments from this and tap on the screen on the YouTube comment, and it will display on the screen when you're doing your live stream, similar to what you would do with StreamYard or directly from YouTube off of your smartphone, but in 1080p at up to 60 frames per second, as long as you're using one camera. This thing is badass because I could even upload videos in here from my previous videos as long as they're in 1080p. If you put 4K 60 or 4K 30 videos on your SD card and try to play them off of this YOLO Box Pro, it's not going to work well, and you're going to see a green and purple color line on the bottom of the screen, and it's going to glitch. You're going to have to, with editing software, as long as you have it, I use Wondershare Filmora 11 by the way, you'll have to have that video downscaled to 1080p at 60 frames or 30 frames at either whatever bitrate you want. You can choose 150 megabytes or you can choose 50 megabytes, or what this can handle, roughly like 10 megabytes. That would be great of a video for the bitrate at 1080p 60 or 1080p 30, and it will display perfectly on this YOLO Box Pro. So there's a couple of things that I had. I do kind of wish that the creator of this YOLO Box, which his name is Frank Shu, I wish the dude would stop cramming so many features into this device and focus on the features that are already in here and make them better, make them run smoother, refine the product by making things run smoother and not have to worry about that. Like, I had a talk with him and he kind of shined me off because he said that my usage wasn't common, so he kind of like shushed me away, and it kind of bothered me, but I let it, you know, slide because number one, you know, car audio is not a common thing apparently, even among content creators. When I did these seminar things and these training videos online, nobody was talking about car audio. Everybody was talking about cinematography and making videos for weddings and making sporting events, which is exactly what this mainly gets used for anyways. But I'm using it for the car audio world because I just want to use it for the car audio world, because why not, right? It's there. So this is a great device, and I already did a video live stream. The weird part was that though I was getting 1080p 60 from this device out to YouTube, I was actually only streaming in 1080p at 30 frames per second, but I didn't notice any kind of frame rate drop or where my face would like stop working and it'll freeze up. None of that happened. I did notice some grain, but I didn't have the best lighting in the world when I was temporary doing a live stream test from my bedroom. In this basement, it's going to be a different story. Like you guys kind of see here, I have some Nanlite LumiPad 25s, some Pavlotube 6Cs, and I have a Forza 60B on the way. That should be here sometime next week. That's going to be mounted right there on the ceiling facing in my direction downward with the softbox. That little thing that you see right there is an egg crate for that Forza 60B, by the way, to be able to kind of aim the lighting directly at the top of my head, now that I figured out how you have to do your lighting with these kind of cameras. But I thought it was cool to bring all of that up to you guys and be able to live stream with this. Now with this one, it also has an HDMI output right there, so you can use something like a small monitor if you want, or you can use something this big, which is a 32-inch TV that I bought back in 2013. This TV is a full array local dimming TV by Samsung. I bought it back in 2013 for $1,000, and the reason why it costed so much is because it's a full array TV and the IPP per, like, I guess pixel thing is really high, so you have a really high resolution off of this. In the bottom, it's on a stand, so I can actually move this TV wherever I want inside of this basement and just plug in the HDMI cable to that YOLO Box Pro that I have back there, or even to any of my cameras in 1080p, as long as it's giving a 1080p 60 input into the TV and output from any of the sources I'm using. I can use this as a freaking large ass monitor inside of this basement to record the video's quality better and to make sure that you guys have a sharper picture. So that's pretty badass, isn't it? So let me go ahead and go back to the main screen real quick. All right, so that right there is exactly what I'm doing and the gear that I'm putting in here for the channel to try to make the video content better for all of you guys here on the channel whenever I start fabricating stuff. So that amp rack thing that I did on the Flex, where the white balance was overexposed, which I'm so sorry about, I'm gonna redo that again with the VXI amplifiers when I purchase them, and I'm going to redo everything, and I'm going to be using better equipment. When I use that cell phone, I actually use this device here. This one here is a Glide Gear OH50, and you have to put this weight on the back of the bracket. There's a bracket back here, right in the middle there, that you have to put the weight on it, and it has to be on there to be stabilized, and it has to be very high up with a heavy duty type camera tripod. And I did the best I could with what I had at the time. I've upped my game, like you guys have seen. I spent thousands, and I mean thousands of dollars on a camera setup like this, and smaller amount of money on the other cameras and gear, because I want to bring you guys better content. I may not be sponsored like some of the other guys, or consider myself a YouTube influencer. I would have loved to be that, but I ruined my chances with JL by speaking negative about the power rating on the C7s. But I can't see myself lying to you guys. So, you know, because I don't want people to come back to the channel like it's already happening now through email, and getting angry people calling me stupid and things like that. You know, it's like, it's just not right. So I'd rather just take the hit, tell you guys what my honest opinion is. And again, like I said, I got that AMM-1 back there that I'm going to use to try to make up for this. And those results are going to be done in real music, not in the 100,000 hertz test tone at 0 dB that apparently people were against of with this multimeter. So we'll do it the right way then, which is what a lot of people seem to want. Let's talk about almost the ending part of my products here. This right here I've showed you guys before, but this is the Rodecaster Pro 2. I freaking love this thing. I'm not using this to its full potential, and I bought this to replace my Tascam DP24 SD. Now the Tascam has more inputs, and I do like that the Tascam lets you record like up to 24 inputs at the same time if you really wanted to. Well, not at the same time, but like play them at the same time so you can record over. I haven't been able to quite do that with this because it seems like they kind of want to steer you to use some kind of a DAW, and my computer honestly doesn't do good with DAWs. It does great with content creation for video editing, but it does horrible for DAW. And I'm using this device. I'm probably, like I said before, never going to use it to its full potential, but this thing has 4 GB of memory internal for the pads, so you can add sound effects. You could put your own music into these pads as long as it doesn't exceed the 4 GB total that it has for all of the pads combined. So my idea for you, if you're going to use this for, like, you know, content creation or for live streaming, just put sound effects in here, like people screaming or saying, "Oh yeah, baby," kind of thing. You know, put stuff like that, or Jesus Christ kind of stuff, you know, shit like that. You could put into these pads as long as they're short clips up to the 4 GB. But if you put like your own beats in here, like me, some of my beats are a little long and can exceed over a gig of music depending on the kilobits that I'm using. In my case, I do MP3 at 320 kilobits, and I think the bit rate is 44,000 K or something like that. I don't quite remember, or 48,000 K or some crap like that. It's the highest I can possibly choose, and I record it from there into here, and then from here it just gets uploaded with the SD card onto my computer. I also use my Roland SP404 MK2, which I use for the beats that you hear on the channel right now. All those beats were made with that. So this is a great device, especially for live streaming. When you connect the Procaster Pro on the Procaster microphone to this, Jesus Christ, it sounds so damn nice, podcaster status. So it works great. So with this device, what I want to use it for is for live streaming and to voice over any videos that I do on the tutorial stuff whenever I have to use something like a fan. This way I can leave ambient noise on, not speak while I'm doing the work, but as I'm watching the video, I can voice over what I'm doing and then present it to you on YouTube after it's been completed in post. So this is a great device for that. I could also be connecting like my Microsoft Zune. I have a Microsoft Zune that's 128 gigs. It's custom done. And I can connect it to one of these ports since it doesn't have a USB type port, and I can have the audio playing off of that from the headphone jack into here. and control it from that, and even control the volume from this point, which is great. So that's what I have so far for you guys on this content stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to go ahead and talk to you guys real quick about the other materials that I'm going to be doing on the next unboxing video. And I'm going to try to find an adapter for this. Oops. I'm going to try to find an adapter for this, and like a power adapter. Since I already told you guys that I'm going to be buying the VXI amps, the 800/8Is, I'm going to buy 2 of those and pair that with my HD 750, because I like how my HD 750 sounds with the W6 the way I have it set up. I do have an old, really old 12W7 and a porta box that my cats scratched the shit out of the front surface, but I can easily pry that front trim off, re-carpet it, and staple it back on, so it's not a big deal. The rest of the box is perfectly fine, including the sub. I like how that sounds, so I want to keep that, so I can be swapping the subwoofer back and forth by the inputs and just plug it in the trunk whenever I don't have to take my family with me and my wheelchair for my son is not required. I can use that sub. So I have this VXI hub that I'm going to show you guys how to wire up for this to use it properly on another video. And this one is going to be the next unboxing video that I'm going to do. It's still sealed. The seal is still there. It's also on here and right there as well. You see the seals. And this one was actually done October 15, 2021. So it's been out for a while and on a shelf, but it's still under warranty. Not a lot of people talk about this device, and I'm thinking it's because it's a lot older, and a lot of people use like you know, Audison and stuff like that for getting a signal from the stock radio into this to get a flat signal, and then from the flat signal out to your audio system. I want to see if that would help improve the audio of the car when I swap them to the VXI amps. So again, HD amps, too much headroom, too powerful in my honest opinion for the C7 tweeters and the mid-range. I am now debating whether the mid-bass speakers that are at the doors are actually getting their power output or not. So again, I'm gonna hold off till I get the VX800/8i, since I'm gonna bridge 2 channels into 1 speaker. I'm gonna be getting about 160 watts RMS at 12 volts and 180 watts RMS at 14.4. So for that, I'm going to have to upgrade my alternator on my Flex to something that's higher, because now I have to depend on my charging system to get better output performance out of the amplifiers, because they do not have the RIPS technology that the HD amps have and the Slash amps have as well. So this should be a fun unboxing, because like it says here on the box, it's Tune 2.0 ready. I'm using Tune 4.0 on my computer or my wife's PC. So I want to see what other features can be unlocked using the Tune 4.0, because as of right now, this thing is supposed to be a standalone device. You usually just plug in your wires, you push a button in the center to calibrate it for 5 seconds, and you're done. That's it. But what about the outputs? It says here that it says 4 volts RMS out. We can test that out with the SMD DD1 once everything is set up and see if we're really getting that. So that would be a great video on the next one. So tune in for the next video with this unboxing. I just got to find an adapter that's 12 volts at 1 amp so we can at least connect power. There's no inputs, unfortunately, so I can probably use a radio or like a Walkman or my Microsoft Zune, and I can most likely try to get an idea of what the software can do and go over it with you guys, and then this way we can determine what features are available with the Tune 4.0 with this device and see how it works. Again, this is an older model, Tweak 80, Fix 86, like the Tweak 88s. They're very old, even though they still sell them. It's old tech. There's nicer, newer tech available now, like those VXI amps. They have the Tweak 88 basically integrated into them. And yeah, so we'll see from there. Anyways, apologize for taking a lot of you guys' time. Thank you very much for tuning into the video again, and it's nice to see all of you guys again. So look forward to the next video. Guys, got any question about any of the gear that I presented to you guys today, please feel free to comment down below. You guys know me already. I'm the kind of person that responds to every potential YouTube subscriber as well as my subscribers, whether it's positive or negative. I'm the kind of person that likes to interact with people like you. So thank you so much. Because of people like you, it gives me the courage, as long as you subscribe and hit that thumbs up button, It encourages me to continue to make more content. You guys have a good one. Peace.